How to Create a Glitch Monologues Season 9 Chapter 2. This is Episode 2 of How to Create a Glitch in the Matrix Monologues Season 9. In this episode we will be elaborating the functioning of emotional calibration. To understand emotional calibration completely, one has to understand that it draws upon not just the memories inherent to one's archetypal constellation, but also one's latent ancestral memory. Each of us carry within us the historicity of our ancestors, which we may draw upon, or those outside of us may draw upon, to replicate patterns of behavior from different eras or ages. But calibration is also an active process in our everyday lives. A song, for example, can represent something, which is triggering for us each time we hear it, producing certain patterns in our behavior or bringing us back to given times in our lives. For example, imagine that right before breaking up with your ex you heard a specific song. Now, in a different relationship, you find yourself repeating those thought patterns because you hear that triggering song. Or let's say you wear that tweed jacket because your mother was reminded of your father when she looked at you leaving the bathroom, which caused her to think of their first date, on which he was wearing tweed. Imagine that this powerful memory recapitulates your similarities to your father, or at least your mother's perception of who your father was. And you find yourself living out those similarities proximate to the calibrating event. For example, if you are triggered by the stylistic similarities between a venue and your ancestors' memories of a place in the 20s, then you will grow in your archetypal similarities to your ancestor. Memory is an evocative and powerful tool to replicate past patterns and recapitulate resolving narratives. All of history follows the paths set down through calibration, for there is nearly nothing new under the sun. Finally, it is important to note that emotional calibration can be the product of external influence or modulation, that is, it can be directed, or it can be organic, undirected, and of limited agency. The difference is important because once one is aware of the process, one acquires a kind of calibration consciousness. The capacity to recognize that one is not just a single active free agent, but rather that one's life is the product, recipient and source of historical trends. Likewise, many patterns of behavior are the product of generational and intergenerational patterns passed on through ancestral memory. Even patterns in one individual's life may be the product of these selfsame trends. Anyway, that's the end of the podcast for today. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment and subscribe.